Welcome back to the First and Gold podcast. I am your host, Sam Gold, and today, as you can see by the title, we're switching sports here in the NFL offseason to do a brand new tier list, and it's going to be NBA logos. Now, fun fact, the only sport I am truly a diehard fan of is the NFL, but I do watch the NBA casually. So obviously I know every team, and I recognize every logo. So, kind of like with our NFL videos, if you guys aren't that into sports in general, this is the video for you because this is just ranking based off of aesthetics. We do this with the uniforms, we've done it with NFL helmets, we do it all the time. So buckle in, this is totally subjective, and it's kind of going to prove the point that this could be for anybody because I am not extremely interested in the NBA, but I do want to rank some logos. So, before we get into it, really quick, we do have a brand new Discord linked down in the description below. You guys can join our community. We do tons of live streams. And if you guys are interested in our other tier list videos, go on our channel. We got tons of them out, mostly NFL, but we have some other ones as well. Some non-sports ones as well if you guys are interested. So thanks so much. Don't forget to also like and subscribe and comment down below what your favorite NBA logo is. And let's find out if your favorite NBA team makes the top or the bottom of the list. Here we go. We got our regular standard format, S through F. S obviously being the best logos, to F being the worst. All right, it's in alphabetical order, so let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Something I've noticed about these logos is that they love incorporating rather just a circle as their surrounding or a basketball in their logos, which if you go to the NFL, I think just the Jets are the only team that has a football in their logo, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong, but they love putting basketballs and incorporating these logos. That's what I'm going to really be into as well. Try to dissect it. But we're here first with the Atlanta Hawks. I think it's a standard B tier. It's simple. It's just red and white. But with Bird Team specifically, I like when they incorporate the animal into the logo. I like that it's kind of poking through from the left. It's got a fierce eye. It's got the beak. I think it's just very simple in its design, but it's very solid. Nothing too crazy. So that's why, for the first logo, we're going to start with B tier. All right, and then we're going to go all the way up here because it's one of the most classic logos in American sports history, the Boston Celtics. I mean, one of the best color combos. The fact that it's Boston, the fact that it's an Irishman, not only just standing there so cool on his cane, but he's got the shoes to match. He's got the nice shirt. He's got the hat. It just looks very cartoonish, but in a great way. I don't know the history of the Celtics too much, to where I don't know when they started being a franchise, but this feels like just a very old school logo in general, and I like that they've kept it. I like that he's also spinning a basketball on his finger, so it's kind of incorporating everything itself. It's already a very unique name for a franchise, the Celtics, very Irish. The colors are perfect, so overall, one of the most iconic logos. I think it's great, very detailed, S tier. The Brooklyn Nets is interesting because it's a little less simple than the Hawks design, but I'm actually going to put it in C tier. I think the shield is interesting as the outer layer. I was about to say it's a shield because of the backboard in the NBA, which is stupid because it's literally a square design, but I also have seen backboards where it is shield shaped, and they're called the Nets, so I don't know if that has any correlation or that's just the shape they chose, but you put a B in the middle of like a white basketball for Brooklyn. It's just like, all right, it's kind of simple. It just says Nets. I will give them this, one of the best color schemes. I know it's a very simple design, just black and white, but I do really love it, and I love their uniforms. So it's not the worst. I'll put it a little bit below the Hawks just because I like the animal design more than just it's saying Nets. That might be unpopular. People like the Nets logo. I just think it's C tier. All right, we're going to have a few S tiers in here, also a few F tiers. We'll get to that. But this one is just so iconic. I think people might see this coming. It's got to be the Bulls in S tier. I mean, just such a great, fierce logo. Very detailed as well. I love when it has, if you already have an animal that's very intimidating as your mascot representing the team, you got to have an intimidating logo to go along with it. And this is just so perfect. The nostrils are flared. The eyebrows are up. It's directly staring at you. It's got the horns. It's a great color scheme as well. It even has like the forehead lines too when it's like going like this. So I think it's just a very, very solid, classic, iconic. I also like that they don't even have the name of the team or the city in there. No basketball. It's just straight up a bull. It looks great. It looks fierce. S tier. Cavaliers. I think I'll put it, it's going to be definitely towards the bottom of B tier when this is all said and done, but I'll put it there, middle of the pack. Don't like their colors at all. I don't like the Cavs colors. The maroon and yellow, pretty gross. But I think the fact that, yeah, you have a sword in there for Cavaliers, kind of piercing through the C for the team's name. I think it's somewhat creative. It's nothing crazy, but it's definitely more interesting than some of these logos we're about to get to, which are just terrible. And trust me, they're coming up soon. So yeah, I'll go B tier for Cavs. Hornets. Now, fun fact, they're not my favorite team, but they are my favorite uniforms in the NBA. I love their color scheme, kind of that tealish blue. I don't know exactly what color it is. Going along with a purple outline. The only gripe I have, I'm actually going to put this in A tier, but the only gripe I have with it, and the reason I'm being so hard on it, is because I like the uniform so much. So I would say if I had a criticism, the Charlotte Hornets part in the middle where it says its name is a little too big and blocky. I would like to accentuate the Hornet, the insect itself a little bit more. I like its head. The wings coming out of it's cool. Obviously, the point at the bottom with the stinger. Maybe just a little less big in the middle, and I think it would be a pretty perfect logo for their team. But yeah, I'm still going to put an A tier. I like the Hornets. Okay, well, shout out. This is my favorite team, the Mavs. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but what the fuck is this logo? I'm sorry. I mean, you could have made, there's so many horse teams out there. I mean, if you just go to the NFL, the Broncos, and I'm not even talking about their new logo, the old Broncos logo where they used to have the D and then the guy sitting on the horse with the horse kind of jumping up and he's poking through with the sword. Just anything where it looks like the horse is like ready to go, attacking. That looks so much better than what this is, where it's just like a majestic horse face cuddling up, caressing, and sleeping next to half a blue basketball. I mean, what is this? It's just really busy. I remember picking the Mavs when I was very young. I remember like being like, okay, the name Mavericks is really cool. I like Dirk Nowitzki. I'm going to go ahead and pick them. But then I saw the logo and I was just like, oh God, like I don't want to wear like a hat with just the logo on it. It just looks so weird. And I just think it looks like, you guys get what I'm saying? Like, it's a very, like, feminine horse that's just caressed next to a basketball. It's very busy, too. I don't know. There's so many better things they could have done with this logo, and I just think it looks weird. So I'll put it in C tier. There you go. All right, these next two logos can get their ass in F tier. Just bad. I don't care. People actually like the Nuggets logo. I think it's stupid. Just two circles here. I mean, we got to the Pistons in 1 second, but one thing with the Nuggets, their color scheme is terrible. I'm sorry. You can have something so much cooler. I remember the Mavs, or not the Mavs, the Nuggets throwback uniforms. So much cooler than whatever the fuck this is. I get it's like a pickaxe for mining. You got the golden nugget at the top and the basketball at the bottom, but I don't know. They could do so much better with that. And then the Pistons as well. Like, better color scheme than the Nuggets, but just no creativity whatsoever. Just this Detroit Pistons in the middle of a basketball. That's it. So I just feel like they didn't really care about making these logos when they designed them. And yeah, that's where you're going to land in F tier. Golden State Warriors, A tier. Now, I know I kind of just ragged on the Pistons for being way too simple. And it's just a circle and a basketball, whatever. And I know some people are going to be like, well, the Warriors just kind of just like very simple. But I don't know. I like when they incorporate a city's like monument or a best attraction into their design of their logo. And I think the Warriors is just too iconic to pass up on and not put it too high. Love the colors as well. Classic blue and yellow. Maybe you could do a little bit more with this open space here in the blue, but other than that, I don't really have too much bad to say about it. And it's just a classic logo when you look at it. I think it's super cool. You got the Golden Gate Bridge. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put an A tier. The Rockets also A tier as well. Now, when you look at it, some people might just see it as an R for Rockets. But if you look closely, the bottom half of the R actually puts out an H for Houston. I think that's pretty cool. And then the second one, it's got the rocket. As you see, there's a little point at the top of the R. That's a rocket ship taking off. You could see kind of like the smoke and the fire trails being left off at the bottom. I think that's pretty sick. And it just matches, like, you know, the team and the city as well. I like that they're called the Rockets in general. I think it's a cool name. So I think there's a lot of different hidden visual meanings behind it that people may not see off of first glance, which I like when teams do that with their logos. So overall, that lands it in A tier. The Indiana Pacers. I'm sorry, guys. This is going at F tier. And, I mean, what the fuck? suck. It's just so boring. The colors suck. It's just a P with a basketball coming out of it. Nobody cares about the Pacers in general. Like, I never think about the Pacers. I've been to Indianapolis. Sorry to the people of Indianapolis. Truly one of the most boring cities I think I've ever been to in my entire life. And then if you just have to live there and go to a Pacers game, I think it just adds to the depression. I'm sorry. But yeah, like, it's just, there's just no creativity with this logo at all. And you're going an F tier, which is also going to be the same fate for the Clippers. Because I know that they just kind of made this a newer design. And kind of like with the Rams, shout out with the NFL, they're trying to make it a little more futuristic, minimalist. No, it doesn't work. The colors are at least slightly better, but it's literally just LAC in the middle of a white basketball. Like you're just... So many of these teams, man, they're just obsessed with the circular shape and the basketballs. And that's why I have teams like the Celtics and the Bulls up top, because just look at the below. It's all the same shit at the end. And these teams just have no creativity at all. And then we have the Los Angeles Lakers, which I'm about to look like a huge hypocrite because I can't help but put it in S tier, even though I literally just said teams with like their name and a basketball is boring and not creative. But I'm sorry, guys. Like, at this point, there's not too much logic I can put into the Lakers one, except for that it's just one of the most iconic logos in sports history. Don't lie. And it's one of the best color schemes. The yellow and purple is perfect. I like the font with the Lakers as well. And I mean, even if you just compare it from S tier to all the F tier ones, the Lakers is still so much better. So I know kind of what I just said about those designs at the bottom, but you just look at the Lakers. It's iconic. I'm sorry. I'm a hypocrite. You can destroy me in the comments. I don't care. Grizzlies. Go with A tier for Grizzlies. I'm actually going to put it above the Warriors. Yeah. The Chicago Bears have a C logo, which I always rag on, and I don't like it all. But they have a secondary logo where it's kind of similar to the Grizzlies, where it's just a very intimidating bear staring directly at you. And that's the one I always want the Bears to use. And with the Grizzlies, they did the right thing. I like their colors. I love the yellow eye. It's kind of like the Bulls, where he's looking very intimidating, staring right directly at you. I kind of like that the right side of its face is shadowed a little bit to make it look a little darker, more intimidating. So overall, for me personally, as someone who's just a casual watcher of the NBA, I don't think about the Grizzlies that often. But when I do look at their logo, I'm like, did a pretty solid job. So I'll go A tier. Miami Heat, another S tier team. I'm going to go above the Lakers as well for sure. It's very simple, but the first time I ever saw their logo, I was like, yeah, that's so perfectly fitting for a team called the Heat. I mean, it's a basketball on fire going through a hoop. I mean, it's just so perfect. I like the color scheme as well. Like, this is an example of being simple and being good at being simple. Like, this is like sometimes if you're going too simple, it can be boring, but this was actually very creative while also not being too busy at the same time. Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going to go top at B tier. Obviously, I love the design of the Buck in general, which puts it up a notch. I actually am between A and B tier. I don't love the green too much. There's kind of a couple hidden things, though. There's an M at the bottom of the Bucks logo as well to represent Milwaukee. In the middle part of their antlers, it kind of shapes like a basketball. So if you are going to incorporate a basketball in your logo, at least make it kind of cool like that, the fact that it is the antlers. I think it's pretty sick. For now, top of B. Timberwolves, also B tier. Very similar to the Hawks, a little more design, though. I think the color scheme is better. I love that it's kind of like the Mavs if they actually did a good job. Like, instead of sleeping and caressing a basketball, you actually utilize the wolf perfectly by looking up into the stars and howling. Like, that's exactly what a wolf should be doing. If you want it to be inside of a basketball like that, I think it's good. Yeah, maybe it's a little busy, but overall, gotta love the wolf design there. B tier. Pelicans, also B tier. I'll put it right above the Hawks. I don't love the colors at all, but overall, the fact that it is a pelican taking a basketball into its mouth and flying away with it, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, there's not too much I want to say about this one, but decently detailed, and I like the animal, so there you go. Okay, final S tier ranking, the New York Knicks. It's kind of like the Lakers, even though, yeah, it just says New York Knicks and has a basketball under it. First of all, it's iconic. It's one of the most iconic franchises in sports. Logos. It's super recognizable. I like the font. And honestly, the light blue with the orange one of the best color schemes in sports, easily. I think it's perfect. I mean, we live in North Jersey. There's tons of Knicks gear around if you want to get it. I'm not even a Knicks fan, but I would totally wear some Knicks gear. I think they just have such great uniforms in general. So honestly, I'm looking at the top 5 here. A lot of iconic franchises. I think that's a good S tier. All right, and then we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, this is the worst logo I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I get it. Maybe the orange and blue spikes are like your lightning bolts, but it's not even squiggly like the Chargers one is. Also, why is the OKC kind of like fading to the right, and it's got like this italics font where it's not even centered, and the O is coming off the side of like this shield with like a weird basketball behind it, and then there's like too much blue on the side, and it's just like, why the fuck is there a team in Oklahoma City in the first place? I don't know. Your name is the Thunder. That is a cool name. It actually does fit Oklahoma City perfectly because there's tons of tornadoes. But like, what are we doing here with the logo? It's just nothing. I mean, the colors are fine. It's blue and orange. I just hyped up blue and orange with the Knicks, but this is an example of just completely fucking up an entire design for a logo. It's disastrous. I don't know what the Thunder were doing. Your name is the Thunder. It could be so much cooler. And that's why it's like, it might not even be worse than some of these F tier ones, but the fact that you just fumbled a great name like the Thunder and made that logo with it, get the fuck out of here. Bottom of F tier. All right, the Magic, B tier. Yeah, I could put it like high B tier. Why not? Like the color scheme. I think the reason why it's not any lower is because, yes, they incorporated the stars at the end, which kind of makes it a little more magical, I guess. But I don't know, kind of like the Thunder. It's just like, if you're going to Orlando, I don't know what you're doing there. You're going to Disney. You're going to Universal. You're not going to see a Magic game. But that's neither here nor there. We're just ranking the logos. Kind of just one of those forgettable franchises I don't think about too often. But the logo's fine. I think it's got a nice design. B tier. Sixers. Top of B tier. The only reason I'm not going to put it in A tier is because I just think it's a little busy. I know it's iconic. I could put it in A tier. I don't know. The colors are very, very good. It's got the 13 stars for the 13 colonies above the 7. I mean, it's got a lot of history behind it. It's Philadelphia. It's got the stars at the bottom as well. It's a cool name in general for 1776, obviously. It's just a circular design with a basketball in the middle. It just says its name. So it's not super fun. I feel so weird putting the Warriors in A if I'm not going to put the Sixers in there. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I just think it's a little too busy. I'm going to put it at the top of B tier. Phoenix Suns, bottom of A tier. I like that it has the sun surrounding it, and it looks like the basketball is being shot. It's in motion, and then it leaves like the trail of fire behind from the sun. I think it fits the name so perfectly. The only gripe I really have with it is I wish it could have a little more purple in the logo, because they do have a great color scheme. I actually think their basketball pops a little more as some of the other ones as well. So very sharp design. And pretty decent for its name, the Suns. Okay, the Trailblazers. Now, if you're not a fan of the NBA, you probably look at this and you're just like, what is this? Like, it's just nothing. But it does represent something. It's a pinwheel where there are 5 lines on the left side and the right side to represent both the 5 players on the offense, on the court, and the 5 players in defense, all coming together to form one team. I think that's decent enough to at least put it in C tier. It definitely would have been F tier if it didn't have that meaning behind it, but fine. I do like when logos have stories behind it, so there you go. Sacramento Kings, I'll put it at the bottom of B tier specifically because I do like the crown design at the top, and I actually like the colors a little bit. I think it's unique. You don't see a lot of teams with a purple-silver combination. I'm pretty sure the only team I can think of is, what, Kansas State football? I believe that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, overall, the Kings are just, once again, one of those pretty forgettable franchises, so I can't put it too high, but not a terrible logo. At least they made a crown out of it. Spurs, A tier. I'm going to actually go top of A tier. Iconic. I mean, it just fits Texas so perfectly as well. It's got the star at the bottom. You know, as an NFL fan, you kind of look at it at first glance, you're like, oh, that's a field goal post. But you're like, all right, no, you can't just say that. That's disrespectful to how iconic the Spurs are. I just think it's very cool, very unique, and specific to a team that's based in Texas, which I think is pretty cool. Raptors, top of C tier. I mean, I guess it's cool that it kind of has like the raptor hand going through the left side of the basketball. But other than that, it's just a big basketball. It's red. It's one color. It's nothing too crazy. So I'm going to go C tier. All right, and then 2 teams left. The Utah Jazz. I'm actually going to put it in A tier. Now, First of all, it's just funny that it's the Utah Jazz. Fun fact, they used to be New Orleans. That actually makes sense. And then you're going to move to Utah and still keep the name. I don't know why they did that, but here we are. But we're ranking logos, and the only thing I definitely have to say bad about it is the color scheme. I think it's absolutely disgusting. If you are going to incorporate a basketball like that, doing it with a music note shape is pretty cool, especially with the Jazz. So I think overall it's very simple, but it's just so fitting with the team itself that I think it actually lands itself, yeah, in A tier. I'm going to go A tier. And then finally, the Wizards. I'll go C tier right above the Nets, and the only reason I'm putting it that high is because if you look closely at the bottom, it's got the Washington Monument in it. I guess that's cool. It's got a star at the top as well. The colors are fine, but overall, it's still pretty much just a basketball shape. Very simple, pretty boring. Their old logo, phenomenal. I wish they would go back because they're such an irrelevant franchise that needs a little bit of spark. If they can go back to that old logo, it looks so much better. But there you go. That's C tier, and that's our list. I think if I'm going to make any adjustments looking at it right now before we're done, I'm going to put the Hawks actually back in C tier. But then other than that, I think I'm good with my list. Let's go through it one more time before we end this video. S tier, Celtics, Bulls, Heat, Knicks, and Lakers. A tier, Spurs, Hornets, Grizzlies, Warriors, Rockets, Suns, and Jazz. B tier, 76ers, Bucks, Magic, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Cavs, and Kings. C tier are the Hawks, Raptors, Mavs, Wizards, Nets, and Trailblazers. And then finally, the worst of the worst, F tier, I'm sorry guys, but it's the Clippers, Pacers, Nuggets, Pistons, and Thunder. So there you go. Comment down below if I just did a horrible job or you think I did good, what your opinions are on this. Once again, what your favorite logo, where your favorite team landed. But overall, thank you guys so much for all the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on First and Gold, also on TikTok and Instagram. Check us out there. If you enjoy the tier list, go on our channel. Find so many more videos that we put out there. But other than that, I've been Sam Gold. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next video. Goodbye.